Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yoga Premanandi. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
I was going to give a little introduction. Is that
You
okay?
were.
Well,
You
I
are.
can.
Oh,
I
you
would
can.
like to.
Yeah, go for
Is
it
that
if you
okay?
want. Yeah.
But I'll have to start.
Introduce yourself.
Yeah. Just get this thing out. Goodness.
It felt like there was an earthquake during the kirtan. I don't know what's going on. I didn't know you had earthquakes in Newcastle. You have earthquakes here?
Once, yeah.
Huh?
1989.
1989, huh? Really, it seemed like a little earth tremor tonight. Everything was shaking here. Didn't know what was happening. Did you feel the shake? You felt the shake? Yeah. You were shaking. I don't know. You felt the shake?
I felt the shake.
You felt the shake. Okay. Thanks. I don't know. It's amazing. Yeah. Powerful shake.
Hare Krishna.
Oh.
Hare Krishna, everybody, and welcome to the Bhakti Tree. Thank you so much for coming tonight. We've got a special Tuesday night presentation with a very Janananda Goswami Maharaj, who's visiting Australia. He's just arrived from New Zealand on Sunday morning and had some activities and programs in Sydney over the last 2 days. And he's very kindly consented to coming in here tonight to present a discourse before he travels on to our farm at Newcastle in Cessnock. And yes, so we're very grateful to Maharaj for finding the time to stop in for a short program here tonight, and we appreciate your support and attendance. Maharaj was born in Swindon, England in 1950. And
You all know, everybody knows Swindon in England, don't they? You've all heard of Swindon? No. I doubt whether there's anyone in this room who has heard, unless you're from England, and even if you are from England, you may not have heard of it.
Well, that's an interesting fact for everyone to take home with them. So, in the early 70s, Maharaj took an interest in Krishna consciousness and was very blessed and fortunate to be initiated in 1972 in London, England, by the founder of the Hare Krishna movement, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Swami Srila Prabhupada. So that was the real commencement of Maharaj's journey with Krishna consciousness, with his beloved Guru. And so that was in 1972. And of course, as the years rolled by, Maharaj served Prabhupada very faithfully and has travelled all around the world in different capital cities and rural locations in various countries. And at the moment, Maharaj is based in central France at our new Mayapur temple, and also does some activities at the Paris Centre too, distributing books in Paris, and also very actively involved in Harinam, our street chanting of the holy name through the streets, and which gives the mercy to the people of the streets hearing the holy name of Krishna. So I'll just leave it there for the moment, but I'll pass it over to Maharaj. And once again, thank you all so much for coming, and I really hope you get some spiritual benefit and blessings from the very wise words of Maharaj. So thank you so much, Maharaj.
Haribol.
Another earthquake.
The whole thing was shaking. It was going like this the whole way through the kirtan. And it seems to have calmed down now. I don't know if Dayal Garanga, is he here? Where's Dayal Garanga? He's gone to recover. I think it was to do with his dancing here. All the floorboards. Here he comes. You were the culprit. You were the one who caused the earthquake. Phew. You're worse than Lord Shiva. You know, when Lord Shiva, if you've heard of Lord Shiva, when he dances, you know, the whole earth, whole universe can shake. Ooh. A worshipper of Lord Shiva by any chance, sir? No? Oh. He is a rapper. You know what rapper means? You ever heard of rap? Rap music? He does rap music. If you're not, you know, if you want, we can have him do a rap later on. He's quite good. You'd like to see us rap? Yeah. Everything can be engaged, you know. And whatever we've all got something, haven't we? Something to offer in this world, everybody. Some gift. So it doesn't matter what we do with it, really, rather than what it is, we could say. We're just trying to see the best use of our human form of life, our talents, our capacities, whatever. I haven't planned anything. I haven't got anything specific to say tonight in terms of a theme or a direction or anything. I'm just open. We're just traveling through New Zealand for a few weeks, and it's nice to be back here at the Bhakti Tree. I've probably been here a few times, and I think some of you have seen me before. Any of you ladies have seen me here before, maybe. Difficult for me to, I vaguely recognize faces, but when you travel, most of the time you meet tens of thousands in the audience, wonderful people. So excuse me if I can't recognize or remember too well. Getting a little older as well, of course. Some of you have been I think you've not had a program here, is that right, for some time? You've not had a philosophy program or yoga for quite some time. Pardon? Since before COVID, so that's quite a few years has passed by. So many of you maybe have started coming. Do you all like frequent the restaurant here? Are you familiar with the restaurant during the week? Is that your connection here, basically? Come here from time to time for dinner, lunch, whatever. Nice. Yeah, it's been here a long time, as you all know. I can't remember how long ago, but I came to Newcastle probably in the 90s. Probably in the 90s, late 90s. There was some house. Then a little bit later on, a devotee named Toshan Krishna, I don't know if you know him or not. A Bengali devotee, Toshan Krishna. He had a restaurant down in the center of the city there in that mall, some kind of shopping mall or something. For some years I would sometimes visit there, and then of course here at the Bhakti Tree, maybe 5 times. I don't know how many times I've been here, quite several times at least. So a very beautiful facility here, very wonderful atmosphere, you could say. So we're happy to be here, and maybe open up if anyone would like to ask any questions about anything whatsoever, then we can take it from there if you want. I'd rather me just speak. Any of you ladies, mostly I see ladies and are here tonight, so would you like to ask any questions? Don't be shy. I'm not sure if I'm a human being, but I'm assuming we are, I don't know. We only know what we know, you know. As mentioned just now, I'm made in England, so you never know what's gonna happen. You know, we're very known to be rather diplomatic and not always so easy to fathom. But we try to be straightforward if we can. And the town I come from, a very simple place. We came from a simple background, more or less railway workers, living in a tiny little box as kids, basically. Grew up in a very simple lifestyle, and somehow or another, we can't always say why. We can say why, but it's not always recognizable at the time that we take an interest in the spiritual path in life. My interest, I guess, was there already born inside of us all. It's there in everyone. It's just covered over. Some interest because it's natural. But it started to grow in when I was a teenager, more or less, at college mainly. The spiritual interest grew and we started to come into contact with literatures from Asia. Not just related, that's way before I came in contact with this Hare Krishna movement. But literatures from Asia, Buddhist literatures, and Hindu, various things, and even, somewhat esoteric Muslim writings, maybe Sufi origin, I don't know, but different literature which was very fascinating and opening our eyes to perhaps another dimension of consciousness, another aspect of life, something which we'd always been curious about, to be honest, but it gave a little bit of light, and after some years, and we came in contact with the literature of the Hare Krishna movement, and that kind of really got me going, I suppose, on this particular path, just by reading those literatures. And the main thing was, in many ways, was practicing or applying it in my life. If you want to really find out about something, you can, if you want to, you put it into practice. Whether it's a recipe or whether it's some kind of machine or some type of process, whatever, we can only become convinced when we actually put it into practice or apply it in our lives. So I try to apply it, and from there, of course, we decided that this was something I'd like to add to my life. And it became the predominant part of my life and pretty much my life, in terms of time, in terms of thought, in terms of deed. So it's not everyone's going to be like that, we understand, but there may be something you like to add to your life. So if anyone would like to add a question or ask a question, please get the ball rolling. I know you may be a little shy. Here's a question. So what's your good name?
Sorry?
Your name?
Oh, it's Lachlan.
Lachlan? Lachlan, that's a nice name. That sounds Scottish to me, but it's probably not.
I think it is originally.
Originally maybe Scottish. There'll be a lot of English and Scottish heritage or influence here because not so much Scottish, I haven't seen so many, but English and Welsh I've seen. Newcastle is a famous city. I lived there for years in England. It was all coal mining and steel and shipping. Coal mining, steel and shipping. Newcastle in England was related to the city in England. You have Wallsend. Wallsend is a suburb of Newcastle. And in South Wales you have Swansea and Cardiff. Swansea particularly was shipping for steel, right next to that big steel plant. And then coal mining just inland from those cities. So it's all related, isn't it? Probably people from those places settled here. So Lachlan, probably, please share.
I find it very difficult to sit still.
Can we give him the mic because there's a big noise. Oh, there's a big noise behind me. I think it's earcon.
Yeah, I was just saying, I find it very difficult to sit still or practice stillness. Do you have any...
Practice stillness.
Practice stillness.
Stillness, yes. Really difficult. Very difficult. Good point.
Yeah, is there anything that you could recommend for somebody beginning a journey of practicing stillness that they could potentially do on a daily basis?
Good one. Thank you. Very insightful point. And you could say follow-up request, which is very humble and very sincere, without a doubt. Stillness. Well, I guess we could try to define stillness a little bit, and probably many of you will have a slightly different perspective. What would you, I'm not going to put you on the spot, Lachlan, but you asked the question, what do you envision as stillness?
Trying to ground myself in the present moment. Just be aware of what's happening around me without interacting or without...
Being disturbed by it or being, overwhelmed, influenced too much by it, so to speak.
Yeah.
Okay, that's an intelligent kind of perspective. Do we have any more suggestions about stillness?
Focused.
Pardon?
Focused.
Focus? Yeah, I could say focus. If you were focusing on diagram, I don't know if that would be stillness or not. We'd be shaking. Another definition of stillness from a real mundane point of view would just be not moving at all, right? Absolutely stationary. No thought, no movement. Has anyone been able to experience, let's say, no thought at all? Doesn't last long, does it? Just like rivers flowing into the ocean. It's described in the Bhagavad Gita, thoughts come into your mind like rivers into the ocean. They just come out of somewhere. They just pour in, as we understand from past, but whatever. But anyone, I'll come back in a minute to your literal point. Anyone else got anything else to say on stillness? Connecting with the breath. The breath. That's a very common practice also. It's not just let's say, a meditation. It's a practice which many people... In India, it's in pranayama and so on. It's a very common, let's say, focus or a very common practice. Is we talking of stillness of the mind, I guess, is it really, basically, would you say? Stillness.
And my body.
And your body, okay. If something the two, it could be together. It could also be the mind can be still, even if the body is moving. The body is always moving. Blood is moving. Nerves are always active. Always action going on there. Stillness. Anything else on stillness?
Calmness.
Pardon?
Calmness.
Calmness. Yeah, calm. Well, it's kind of related to the similar points, isn't it? Calm, feeling very calm. You know, it's a kind of a nice feeling when you feel calm, isn't it? What do you think? You feel good when you feel calm? Really difficult. I mean, it is difficult, especially the world we live in today. I mean, Newcastle? Are most of you living in Newcastle? Nearby or in the city? It's not a particularly, let's say, hectic place. At least it doesn't look like it. I don't know. Maybe you think it is. I don't know. I've just come from New Zealand and Christchurch, and I don't know if you've been in Christchurch or not, but Christchurch is like, for one who comes from London and Paris, Christchurch is like a garden village, you know. It's like a dead suburb of Paris or something, you know, where nobody ever goes. It's so peaceful in terms of the relative. It's all very relative, you know. This is what you're used to as well. And they're saying, "Oh my God, I've got to." Some people are saying, "I've got to get out of this place. It's so hectic here. I'm going to move to a quiet place." I couldn't believe it, you know. It's like coming from Paris, and some of you have been to Paris, I'm sure. Who's been to Paris? Quite a 3 or 4 or 5 hands going up. My goodness. It's getting more and more hectic, more and more crazy every day. Pretty difficult to be peaceful. This is what you're looking at. Whether you're in the middle of the forest, which would seemingly be quite a nice environment, you could say, or in the middle of Paris, how to be undisturbed. Peacefulness isn't, it can be, yes, calm, definitely calm. It can be, it may or may not be related to a practice of focus on one's breath or on a specific thing, but being undisturbed within, being, you know, as you said, living in the present is one way of looking at it. One of our great teachers, just recently, one of the great teachers in our particular spiritual line, he said, "Dwell not the past that sleeps, nor ere the future dream at all, but live with times that are with thee, and progress thee shall call." Living in the present is an interesting concept. It's a little bit beyond, you could say, just existing in our present situation in a calm state of mind without being disturbed. That is definitely a grounding in many ways, which you're talking about. It's a grounding, but there's something much deeper than that. It's pretty difficult to do that in our unbalanced society. We're coming from an unbalanced background probably. I don't know where you're all coming from, but much of the time we've been exposed to all kinds of various events in our life, sometimes traumatic, sometimes really disturbing, painful, whatever it may be. You know better than I what you've been through. I don't know what you've been through, but most of us have had quite a lot of experiences in life of various kinds. We're surrounded by all kinds of, not just, let's say, visible causes of distraction. Just sitting here, you can easily become distracted by something outside this room, what to speak of something inside this room. This is just external, it's not to speak of the mind directly. Easily be distracted by it. It may disturb you. Certain people may disturb us. Certain sounds may disturb us. Certain sights may disturb us. Smells, tastes, and numerous other things may disturb us. Maybe we're disturbed probably we'd all become disturbed if a brown snake crawled in through the door. I don't know much about snakes in Australia, but I've heard a brown snake is not very friendly. I don't know. I'm not sure. I told they run away or something. They slither away. But, you know, we get a little bit disturbed probably. It'd be difficult to sit here undisturbed, isn't it? Or if some kind of, you know, gorilla suddenly entered in the door, you'd be hard to sit there without blushing, you know. Or some guy outside suddenly smashes the window. That used to happen when I first joined the temple. Almost every week somebody would come and smash the window of the temple with a bottle. I was giving a talk one time in a temple in London, and somebody threw a milk churn through the window, you know, crashed right into the room, boom, across the floor. Luckily it didn't hit anyone. Pretty hard not to be disturbed. And well, maybe we should be. Maybe there's a situation where you do have to act, you know, you have to, there's a little common sense there. There's an interesting thing where you can act without being disturbed. You can act and be calm. You don't have to be just, you know, neutral or inactive as such. It's acting without being disturbed. I think this is what you're really hoping to work towards. You can't stop acting. You've got to breathe. You've got to speak sometimes, eat, and you know it's unavoidable, especially in this day and age. And the mind is also very active. Very hard to control the mind, more than the wind it's described in Shastra or scriptures. Very difficult situation. Not only that, but we've created another dimension of disturbance in many ways, haven't we? With our modern technology. You can't avoid it. You can go in the middle of the forest, believe me, and you're still subjected to it. You can go up the mountain, you're still subjected to it. Maybe lesser. It certainly is a lot more peaceful. I'm sure many of you have lived in a secluded place. I mean, let's take electricity just as a kickoff. That's whatever it is, it is. It's not as probably as disturbing as many of the things, but nonetheless, it's an energy which effect on us. You know, you put something electrical, I'm sure it has some effect on the body, the nervous system or whatever. What to speak of if you have, what is it? What are these things? Where have I got one somewhere? I did have. No, I still got it. Nobody's pinched it yet. I got this. You know this? You've seen these? You've seen this new invention? You know what it is? Huh? No, I'm sure you haven't seen one. I'm not sure. Someone gave it to me. It's a mirror. It's a mirror. Here it is. I can see my face in there. There we go. Mirror. Mirror, mirror on the most handsome of them all. It's me. There it is. Welcome to mirror. There I am. Whoa. See? No, we all know what this is. It's, you know, you may not have one. Good on you. But even if you don't have one, you know, everyone else around you has got one. And, you know, the whole atmosphere is charged, isn't it? You can't, but it is. There's so much, the atmosphere is so polluted. It is just like I don't know what word to use. It's just like pervaded almost top to bottom, the air, the atmosphere, the ether is pervaded with these electromagnetic waves or whatever, radioactive waves, whatever they call them, I don't know. The whole atmosphere, and it has its effect on our health, it has its effect on our peace, it has its effect on our brain, everything. It's meant to. It's not that it's like, oh, sorry. It's got a purposeful thing. And many other things beyond our imagination, which may disturb us in our daily lives. It's pretty hard not to be disturbed. So how do we find? Well, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, of course, gives a lot of... I don't know if you've had the chance to go through Bhagavad Gita. This is one of the main subject matters of Bhagavad Gita. I don't have one in front of me, perhaps. I used to call him Dancing Daniel Das. His name's Daniel, and he's from Brisbane, and he's a dancer. Dancing Daniel Das. Das means servant. He's brought out one Bhagavad Gita for us. Here we go. And pretty much several chapters are aimed at your, maybe from a different approaches, but aimed at your point, basically, of how to be undisturbed in the midst of disturbances. That's the secret. It's not just to go somewhere where there's no disturbances. You won't find anywhere, really, anyway. I haven't grown another arm yet. Can you get, oh yeah, we can put this arm up there, and there you go. Ooh. Be interesting to have 3 arms, wouldn't it? You can't imagine somebody with, maybe there's somebody with 3 arms, I don't know. I've seen cows with extra legs. you know, maybe the humans sometimes have an extra leg. That spot at the moment, I may not find the verses, but there's a whole section here in the 5th chapter of this book, the 6th chapter of this book, and from time to time, throughout the book, this topic is emphasized. The how we can become composed, peaceful, at home within, in the midst of disturbance. Because disturbance will come. Your body, you're still a fairly young man, your body gets old, sometimes you get sick. Many of us have sometimes physical, sometimes mental sicknesses, and you get old, and obviously things start to diminish in their capacities. We have to face death eventually, of the body, not of the soul, death of the body. It also can be, so in one sense, preparation, Bhagavad Gita is a guidebook to prepare us, not just for death, but prepare us for eternity. You're talking about living in the present. The living in the present means living on the platform of eternity, the eternal existence. The soul's natural condition is to live eternally. Nobody likes to lose things we like. Nobody likes to die. We don't generally like to get old. Maybe some do. But generally not. And we certainly, in most cases, don't want to die. It's unnatural for us to have to experience these things. They're also disturbances, amongst many of the other disturbances or sufferings which we have to undergo, miseries of various kinds, earthquakes. I don't know if any of you have been in an earthquake. Have any of you been in an earthquake? Where was your earthquake? How big was it? 5.6. Ah! Feather. Where? Turkey. Turkey gets quite big earthquakes. 5.6 is big for Australia, that's for sure. Huh. It depends on the nature. It can be, I don't know what it was like, you know, I can't speak about how much it was. I mean, the buildings were going. So that's quite, because it's probably not built for earthquakes here. I've been in New Zealand during earthquakes, not the big one, but perhaps the next biggest one there. It's pretty scary. I mean, it's pretty hard not to be disturbed. What is the cause of being disturbed oftentimes, besides all these other practical things, is disturbance, is ignorance. When you don't know what's going on, when you don't know where you are, when you don't know what's happening next, it can be quite disturbing. Quite disturbing. We don't want to go into all the negatives, but the knowledge, having knowledge of ourself, the real secret here is not just an whether it's breathing, whether it's habitat, whether it's isolation, whether it's, you know, willpower, whether it's some practical, you know, I don't know, implementation of some lifestyle, whatever it may be, those things may be somewhat helpful, and it's natural. It's the nature of the soul to be peaceful. But we have to understand, in a sense, if we really want that, and we really want to live in the present, what is peace? To be at home with ourselves, to know ourselves, to know others, to know the spiritual dimension of life, to see the duality of this world, to see beyond even the modes of nature and the causes of karmic causes that we see around us, to see one beyond that, not just try to adjust the environment by some methodology. It's natural we try to do that. It's only natural. But the real above it. I was on an airplane one time, flying, and that in itself can be a disturbance. But I was on this airplane flying from Kuala Lumpur to Delhi. If you know where Kuala Lumpur is, you should do. It's on your side of the world, more or less. So you know where Delhi is. So I was on this airplane. Suddenly the airplane started changing course. It wasn't that plane, that Malaysian flight that went out of the radar or something. This was another thing. And it went in a different direction. We could feel it rising up and going in a different direction. And it went a long way around and then down from a different direction into Delhi. And it was about an extra hour on the flight. The reason was there was a tremendous storm over Bangladesh. I guess this was 20 years ago. 100,000 people drowned in the storm, I believe. There was like a huge storm hit the country and flooding. And, it was such a big storm, they had to go around it, somehow or another. So, but if we'd gone in, we may not have survived, I don't know. We'd be very disturbed. So one thing, we had to rise above it, go around it. So can we use this as an example? That one has to rise above all of this, or let's say transcend it. And that's again what Krishna talks about in Bhagavad Gita, how to transcend you as a person, not the mind. The mind will always be flickering. The body will always be moving because it's the nature of the material energy. It doesn't stay still, forever changing. I think you may have heard George Harrison's records in the past, all things must pass, forever changing, different, impressions there. But for the soul never changes. The soul, when we understand nature, the soul is unchanging. We're just witnessing all this. And because we identify it, we become disturbed. We identify what we like or dislike. Every one of us. And this creates wars, it creates disharmony, it creates pain, so many things. Exploitation. They all relate because of this false understanding of who we are. Without a full understanding of our nature, there's only different degrees of whatever our definition of peace may be. There's only different degrees of it, either in or by its extent of peacefulness or happiness or whatever we're looking for. Degree only. It's not complete. It's only when we really understand our true identity, our spiritual identity, can we begin to understand what it really means to be peaceful and how we can help others experience that. The effect of that is amazing too. It's not just the isolated effect of peace. You're feeling peace, and maybe that has a little effect on others, but no, if one is truly peaceful, they can create peace in others' hearts too. That others will no longer, it may take time as a practice to realize one's inner self and so on. So no matter what situation of challenge we're in, or whatever difficulties which we're surrounded with, and it doesn't mean we're not going to act, but one's not disturbed, even in the midst of the causes of disturbance. That's one of the secret teachings of Bhagavad Gita, how to be undisturbed in the midst of disturbance. Not just to hide away from it. I certainly feel like getting away from it all sometimes. I don't know how you feel. I feel like just hiding away sometimes. It was my nature as a kid. I used to like to go away and, up on the top of a hill somewhere. But I couldn't stay long. My mind drew me back into the action field again. But there was that desire there, because it was like, I just want to leave me alone. But we don't know who me is. And if we find out a little bit more about me, then we realize that and that piece, of course there's another dimension which is also brought into the Bhagavad Gita, is of another level of what it is on that spiritual platform. That's another thing. But in relationship to our material situation, yes, this inner understanding of our spiritual identity, apart from the body, apart from the mind, even apart from our intellect, the spiritual conscious being, more we realize our spiritual nature, then the more there is, will not be disturbed. It's like rising above the clouds. When you go above the storm clouds, you're not in the storm anymore. And you can actually, if you're inspired, you can try to help those who are in the storm to rise above also. You can try. So it's a big subject. I would suggest that you read these sections of Bhagavad Gita to begin with, and meditate on it, and see maybe some of the guidelines there. Some things you can. There's also a little booklet. In fact, I just picked it up here. I haven't read it. Called Mantra Meditation. One of our devotees put it together. I can't give you an answer because I haven't read it. But I assume that that's one of the topics of this book, how to meditate in a way that you'll become satisfied, peaceful within. No matter where you are, you will still realize your kind of like spiritual nature, which is not affected by the changing world around us. So that's kind of, in one sense, living in the present, because that's our eternal nature. Materially speaking, that's the material eternal nature. It's just a reflection of it. So I would suggest that, and we can add more to that, add another question, or if anyone else wants to add anything. Again, reading the Bhagavad Gita is good to discuss it with others. So if you have the chance, some of the young men or women, gentlemen here can also discuss it more with you. Are you a man of action, or are you working, are you retired, or are you tired, or are you...
No, I'm working.
You're working? Yeah, so you have an occupation. What do you do?
I help people improve their online visibility.
Online?
Online presence visibility.
Disabilities?
Online visibility.
Visibility? Online visibility. Yeah, it's all different things. Again, many of these things are kind of related to an unnecessary creation of our modern era. It was about, I guess, about 100 years ago. I don't know exactly. And of course, the Industrial Revolution has started already in England, and then all over the world. Newcastle was the heart of the Industrial Revolution in England. It was the biggest in the world in the Industrial Revolution. I lived there for years, I know. And, then technology came in and all kinds of communication systems and what have you, which we all know we don't absolutely need. I mean, we hear different histories from different countries and different people. We can't always believe it all, but anyway, whatever it is. But life was very simple, comparatively speaking. People weren't so concerned, perhaps, in many places with material development in terms of technology or industrialization, especially in Asia. They were pretty much not interested. Of course, interest was created, but most people were living on the land, living very simply. You don't see many remains because everyone lived in simple straw mud huts. They didn't have these modern structures. There were stone buildings, but stone buildings were also natural. But mainly it was straw and mud. And people lived very simply, lived with their families. Pretty simple life. Life would be generation to generation. Plough the fields with the bulls or some other animal. Isn't it? Some of you from India may have grown up in, or even in Fiji, in farming families. Simple life, huh? Some buffalo or bullocks ploughing the fields or something like that. And everything engaged in farming. In many ways, that's natural life, very natural. Now we take it for granted that, internet and modern telecommunications, social media and stuff is wasn't heard of until 30, 40 years ago. Nobody even heard of it. I'm sure those who are a little older will have never had a mobile or a computer 30 or 40 years ago. Maybe you haven't got one now, I don't know. Certainly then we didn't have one, they were unheard of. So we created a lot of other, let's say, distractions in our lives. So many distractions. People were much more focused on what they were doing before. Even going to college. I mean, when I often ask the young members, what are you going to study? They tell me something, I don't even know what it is. Some funny terminology that they're going to study this, that, the other, some technical term. When I did my degree, it was about 10 choices. You did geography, history, economics, physics, biology, chemistry, language, maybe a couple of others. You could specialize after a while in one of architecture or some type of medicine or something. But basically speaking, there were very few choices. I mean, in terms of definition. I think we're creating so many, and the kids are so complicated, so confused rather. What to do? They don't know what to do. They change their degrees every year, practically. I know some kids who, they've changed 4 times, you know. They started off doing law, then they decided they gave it up and did art, then they gave it up and did biology, you know. It's like completely confused. People are so confused about what they're doing and where they're going. They don't know what to do. So many. And then they get depressed sometimes because they don't know what. Sometimes they have to take the intoxicants or some medical drug of some kind. It's so unnatural, unfortunate. And so environmentally, definitely, our spiritual teacher so much wanted, one of his main premises to facilitate the spiritual path was to try to create environments of simple living and high thinking. Even the food we eat. By looking at most of you here today, I can tell that you're all serious about this, about your health, although we can't stop the illnesses sometimes, but as much as we can, to live a little bit more natural life, eat food which is a little bit better for us, you know, environmentally as well as physically. The food that people eat is unbelievable. You know, when it started, to my knowledge, and I don't know if any of you were exposed to that, when I was in the 1950s, this is my first memory, in the 1950s, we were taught that the more chemicals there are in the food, the better it is for you. That was the propaganda. We knew nothing. We knew nothing. Up to then, the vegetables came every day in our street on a cart from the local farmer. The milk came straight from the dairy, 6 o'clock in the morning, freshly bottled in the morning. It was probably very nourishing. I mean, I was too young to really appreciate one or the other. But then we were preached to, the more chemicals, the merrier. Yes, no joke, I'm not joking. So it became the norm. And organic food, which was the norm before, became the exception, as it still is today. Not that the organic food you buy in the shop necessarily is organic either, by the way. It's partly organic. It may be fully organic, it depends, but it doesn't have to be. The World Health Organization allowed up to, I think, 75% organic to get the stamp, anything up to 7. It may only be 75% minimum, like that. And there's no way of telling, even if it's organic, you don't know. Anyway, there's so many other factors we won't get into. And you can't to live simply, but that's what our spiritual master wanted. Live on the land, grow your own food naturally, live a simple life, a simple housing. You don't need, we don't need all these things, especially in Australia, like washing machines and, you know, all these things which we depend upon. We depend upon them practically. Most people are not used to washing their clothes by hand. I grew up in a house, we had no kitchen, we had no bathroom. We didn't have a bathroom or kitchen in my house when I grew up. We had to cook on the fire and take a bath in a big tub. Yeah, we had no kitchen. We had a mangle. We had no washing. The washing machines didn't exist. Wash the laundry in this big tub and then wring it out in a mangle and hang it on a little wire. We didn't have any garden at all, none. Mango, that fruit, isn't it? Is that fruit, isn't it? You squeeze it between mangoes. No, not exactly. Mango. You don't know what a mango is? Who knows what a mango is? What's a mango? You don't know what a mango is? Yeah, you know. Yeah, they know. These young ladies know over here. These two girls know what it is. You probably had one of your kids, right? Maybe you still got one. So I still see them around. There's a kind of a thing with these wheels. You can put the cloth in and wind it, and it squeezes the water out in between the wheels. It's good for you. It's exercise. People don't exercise. This is another thing. Very important, Lachlan. This is an important thing. People do not exercise. They spend money going to the gym. And some of you may do that. I don't know, some of you ladies also may do it. But so many people spend money going to the gym or doing some jogging, jog, you know, going jogging, you know, all these things. Yeah, just walk to work for sake. Just walk. Just walk to work, if you work. Of course, you work in your front room now. You don't walk anywhere. You don't even have to do that anymore. Home if you're on the internet. Walk to school. I used to walk 4 miles a day just going to school. 1 mile there. I'd walk back at home for lunch, 20 minutes back, take lunch, walk back again, come back at home, 1 hour, 4 miles a day, just walk into school and back. Not much. Didn't cost anything, maybe a little bit of wear and tear on my shoes, I don't know. Good exercise. Not bad, it's good for the lungs, it's good for your system. A lot of people don't do natural exercise anymore very much. Lazy. Here, 500 meters, you get in your car and drive up the road there. Spending 5 minutes trying to find a parking lot. Then you come back after going in, you find there's a parking car. Oh, God. Oh. You know. Oh, no. You know. Huh? Huh? So many hassles.
I drive to the gym so I can walk in the gym.
Drive what?
He drives to gym so he can walk in the gym.
Yeah, you drive to the gym so you can walk up and down in the gym for 1 hour and spend $50 or whatever it costs. We're caught in this spiral of, you know, I don't know, propaganda of some kind, you know. And then you have to take drugs. Yeah. Depression drugs, sleeping drugs, digestive drugs. What other drugs do you have to take now? Get you moving drugs, calm you down drugs. What else? Nerve drugs. What else do you take? Huh? Oh yeah. Some people. I was. Where was I? Don't know. But yesterday, I opened up a door somewhere and I said, "Oh, you've got a clinic here?" It was someone's bedroom. Here there was just must have been 100 bottles of various kinds of supplements, tablets for this, tablets for that. So many things, I couldn't believe it. You know, this is a common affair. People, you think you're going to take vitamin this, vitamin that. You're lacking in vitamin B195764778. And we've got the latest thing for you. You take 50 of these a day, and you know, it only costs €500 a month, nothing, $500 a month, nothing much. It's like, you know, where's it coming to? I don't know, you know. You just have to eat normal food, proper food according to your nature, and drink decent water. People don't drink water, some. This is all related, Lachlan. This is all related, I'll tell you. The food that we eat, the water we drink, the air that we breathe, the lack of exercise, this is on the material platform. All this is related to not being peaceful. It's very related. Natural life. People are not rightly situated. And if you're not rightly situated, you'll never be peaceful, materially or spiritually. So being rightly situated spiritually is the essence to understand our eternal nature or spiritual nature. And not naturally, the soul is not disturbed, but the body and the mind may still be whatever they are, but you are not disturbed. But most people are not able, for whatever reason it may be, are not able or not willing for that. So therefore, the idea originally was in society, the society be organized in such a way as much as possible that people are situated in a lifestyle which is not so complicated. A simple lifestyle according to their nature. There's another subject matter in here, which is the ancient Vedic system of society. In Sanskrit, they call it the Varna Ashram Dharma. You might be interested in that in your line of work. In how organized society is organized according to the qualities of our nature. It's nothing to do with birth. It's nothing to do with gender. It's nothing to do with, you know, university degrees. It's to go to your nature. The first thing in ancient society was based on seeing the nature of a child. Now, if I ask most of you now, which I will do you go back to when you were 7 or 8 years old? if you can think that far back. And what were your interests? Now, you don't have to answer. Does anyone, I mean, when I say interests, I don't mean I just like to play with, Lego or something. But, in terms of occupational interest, some people have an interest even at that age. It's not that they're doing it, obviously they're too young to do it literally, but they have an interest, a strong interest in it. Do you remember anything like that? Who remembers something like that? Yes. What were you interested in? Cooking. That's not unusual for an young Indian lady. It's very common for young Indian ladies. I think for young Western ladies, it's not so common. 60 years old, or 20 years old. But for Indian ladies, they're brought up with it because everything's cool. Well, even in my time, not so much then. Of course, I didn't have a sister, only a brother. But maybe it was too, I don't know. But especially they grow up with their mother. They help preparing things, and they naturally grow up in that environment. Anyone else? That's really good. Thank you. Anyone else?
Sports.
Pardon?
Sports.
Sport. You're a sportsman. All right, I didn't know that. What sport? Everything.
Soccer.
Really?
Baseball,
You had in your sportsman in your last life, I guess. Anybody else? You never became one, right? No.
Lost interest.
Anyone else? Something you remember when you were a young kid? Yes. Back in. What was that?
Dinosaurs.
Dance?
Dinosaurs.
You were not a dinosaur in your last life, were you? No way. No, that's more of an entertainment. I was thinking an occupational attraction. What was that?
I want to be a paleontologist.
Paleontologist? That sounds simplistic. What is a paleontologist?
Studies the bone, like the study of the bones.
Study the bones. Is that real? The dinosaur bones. Were you an anthropologist maybe in? Anthropology maybe in your line. Well, I don't know. Maybe our life is a little bit different than before. But when I was a kid, when I was 8 years old, 7 years old, I still remember sitting on the floor. We don't have it. Maybe we had a table, I can't remember. But sitting on the floor with big pieces of paper and designing towns. Towns, that was my hobby. I'd have a big piece of paper and design my own cities and towns. Town planning. It was obvious what I was, if I'm materially speaking, what I would do. And when I went to college, I studied geography, but the next step, I was doing urban geography, the next step was to do town planning. It was just a natural course. It was there in the blood. Some people have that. Have you got to hit the road? You got to hit the road already? Oh. Oh, well, congratulations. It's good you're being conscientiously looking after them. But take with you. Give her something to eat. Come on, Bhakti Mala. Don't let her escape so easily. We must please take something. Please make sure they get something to eat. Go on, take it home with you. Go on, be a devil. Good for you. We wish it was more organic. Anyway, all these things are there. So in this Vedic society, they try to find the general proclivity. It was a lot more easier. Most people, the family you're born in according to your karma is often related. Nowadays it's not. But it was then. So you may become a farmer, you may become inclined towards business, you may be inclined towards different things like cooking or this or that and within it, or you may be an administrator or just like to work and help others. Different categories, a generalization and details within it, but it was a much simpler life, much simpler. Not like now we have to pay. How much money do you pay for a house in Newcastle? A new one. How much are they? 400,000, at least. Bedroomed house. Huh? How much? 400? 1 million. It's so unnatural, isn't it? What is it made of? It's just made of things from the earth, basically. And you'd be having to pay all this money and spend 20 years maybe paying it back. It's crazy. It's crazy. It just comes from the earth. Who's got the right? It's just an imbalanced society. Imbalanced. It's very hard to be balanced in an imbalanced society. If everything's going like this all the time, it's pretty hard not to be disturbed. You don't know whether this, isn't it? You know, you vote the government in, you vote them out. You vote another one, you vote them out. You vote the previous one in, you vote them out. You know, nothing's balanced, you know. Top to bottom, everything's upside down, topsy-turvy. Because people are missing the very point itself. What is the purpose of life? And it's not just to be peaceful in and of itself. That comes automatically when we understand, or we have this spiritual understanding of life. That's the platform of real unity. That's the platform of harmony. That's the platform of love. When we know who we are. And the whole process of yoga, meditation, spirituality is to realize their self-identity. You can't live eternally on the material platform. You can't be truly peaceful on the material platform. The material energy is always changing. Only when we have the spiritual understanding can be undisturbed in the midst of every form of disturbance. Insult, violence. That doesn't mean you don't act. When somebody is mistreating others, you may act. But you're not disturbed. You're not controlled by it. You're going to act for the welfare of others, naturally. But you're not personally disturbed. It's not with hatred or anger, or with lust or greed or envy or whatever it may be. It's with a genuine compassion, a genuine feeling of how to help others to also find what they're looking for. Peace being one of them, love, happiness, like that. How to find it. Everybody is looking for it. Everyone. We're just looking in different directions. If we look within, they have a saying in Taoism, at least they did, as they still do, but they have a saying that the Creator has hidden happiness in a place where you'll never look. You look here, you look there, you look up there, you look in the water, you look underground, you look in the sky, you look everywhere, all around us, but He's hidden it right inside of your very heart. Isn't it that we feel emotions in the heart? Isn't it? Isn't it? We think, you can say in the brain, okay, there's the actions interacting through the brain to the body, but the feelings are in the heart, aren't they? You don't say, I love you with all my brain. Have you ever heard anyone say that? Maybe they're coming around to that eventually, but the computer says to the other computer, I love you with all my RAM. What's it called? I don't know, is it RAM on the computer? I don't know. I love you with all my RAM. Human beings, they don't generally say, I love you with all my brain. What? Get away from me. Go away. Take your brain somewhere else, please. You know. It's your heart. I love you with all, isn't it? With all my heart. It's in the heart. Your feelings in the heart. That's the locale of the actual person, the soul. It's not the heart itself. We're in that region where consciousness comes from. The life is emanating from there. The brain is just another instrument where you could say the inner thought or the inner intentions, desires of the soul are like computed, whatever it is, through all these various mechanisms, and then transferred through the nervous system and other systems through the body, and so on. But it's inside there. That's where we have to look, deep inside. For that purpose. And pranayama is also related to this, by the way. Of course it is. Meditation. But it's more than just, even to meditate, traditional meditation in this age is very difficult. For the very reasons that Lachlan has mentioned, it's hard to be peaceful, especially in the cities. You can say 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 1 hour maybe, then you're dragged away just like our friend just now. Of course, he's got responsibilities to the family. There are so many other things that drag us away. They're very hard to be self-centered, to be spiritually not materially self-centered, but spiritually it's very difficult in this age. So there's the easy process, or the easiest recommended, written up there on the wall. There, it's also, I just opened it on that page. This is a meditation mantra which you can chant anywhere, and most of you are familiar with this. That's why we chant it. You can chant it anywhere. And it's not a question of, having to be quiet or in a certain environment. That may be helpful, but it's not a condition. And it helps you to be more self-composed, less disturbed. Those are just byproducts. The real thing is it helps us to realize our spiritual nature and ultimately awaken our eternal love. In the spiritual realm, love is a reality. In this world, it's a reflection. It's a reflection of reality. It's only temporary. But love is eternal. And that love is eternally reposed in we would say, is reposed in a relationship with Krishna, a loving relationship with the supreme being. And that's the essence of complete satisfaction. Just like a child is, when a child is not with a baby, it can't find its mother, or the mother's not there, the child easily becomes disturbed. As soon as the mother comes along and picks the child up, the child's peaceful. It may not immediately be, but after a while, the child usually becomes peaceful. Because the child is at home with the mother. No one else can do that. Nobody. Only the mother. So when we're in our natural shelter, our natural position, only then can we be peaceful or satisfied. Anything else? Very practical. Very practical topic. It covers health, it covers exercise, it covers occupation, it covers spiritual pursuit, it covers environmental issues. Everything is related. Your occupation in life, everything is taken into account. Well, this is spoken by Krishna himself, but he covers all this for anyone who's interested in it. Sometimes we need a little help, to go through it, because it's terminology or subject matter we may not be so familiar with, we may not understand the concepts immediately, but the subject matter covers all these points, as well as the obvious karma, reincarnation, the difference between matter and spirit, why we're suffering or why we're enjoying, why all the whys. Those who are wise in here, you become wise because all the whys are answered in here. And then become wise. You said wise, somebody said wise. I'm just an ordinary guy. I just happen to come across persons who are, I would say, spiritually elevated. And just in their association, some things you pick up. Whatever, through life we all pick up different things. But because most of my life has been spent in this line, so something's been picked up. Anything else? Where are you going? Going to the gym. Going to the gym?
No, I came from gym. I have a job.
You look like you came from the gym.
I have to be at work.
You have to?
At work. It's going to work.
You've got to go to work now.
Yes.
Is your car here?
Yes.
Oh, you're okay then. Where's your work? Next door?
No, it's not next door.
Not
It's
next door.
a few kilometers.
A few kilometers. You look very fit. It's good to be fit, by the way. We're not propagating don't be fit. Yeah, it's good to be fit. Hare Krishna. So you've got some prasadam for the journey? Work now. Thanks for coming. What's your name?
Aman.
Amat.
Yes.
Great to meet you, Amat Prabhu.
I was here last time as well.
Oh, were you really?
I was just sitting here
Come.
until you
So
got-
nice to see you. We could spend more time. Thank you. Keep it up. What to do? We're always on pace, rush, against time. I've got to go. I've got something to do. I've got to go to work. I've got to get up. I've got to eat. I've got to go to the restaurant. I've got to go home to look after the children. I've got to feed the dog. I've got to catch the bus. I've got to catch the train. I've got to put the money in the parking meter. I've got to work. Oh, I've got 101 text messages I've got to deal with. I forgot that. I forgot to answer someone this morning. They told me, oh my, no, I can't believe it. £1,000 fine because I forgot my ticket, damn it. What to do? Congratulations. Welcome to a civilized world. Welcome. What's wrong with you? Okay, it's rap time. Wrap it up. Let's have a bit of fun. Let's hear a rap. Come on. Are you into it? You haven't got any musical accompaniment, though. You can do without? Have you got something lined up? Tell me what it is so we don't, too much of a surprise. Come on, whisper in my ear. I don't want you doing something off the wall.
It'll come through the microphone.
Huh?
It'll come through the microphone if I whisper it.
Hey, what?
Wisdom of the sages, listen to the scriptures from the Vedas. Material sickness is contagious.
Okay, I got it. So this is a rap, which is a little. I hope you can hear it. Don't go too fast because we're slow. We're all old. At least not all of us, but I am. And yes, it's something. Again, we hear so much from social media, and it definitely it can be quite disturbing sometimes. The things that are going on in the world today are we're familiar with it, we're exposed to it more and more and more. It can be quite shocking. And I'm sure many of you are disturbed by some of the things that are going on in the world today. I don't just mean wars that are taking place over God knows what. The cruelty that's going on, if you want to see angles, no doubt, but these things are going on in the world today. There's so much you could talk about. We're not going to go there. So he's going to do a little rap now, a little bit of an advice of how maybe we can do a little bit to transform. Transformation. There has to be some transformation. It's not just a matter of changing from this to that. There has to be some transformation within. So that is evoked. It's just like we develop our Sanskrit terms we'll leave aside, but our various concepts of life, our various ways over a long period of time. Different experiences, different associations, different life forms. We develop various kinds of concepts and perceptions, likes and dislikes, and views on things, which change according to situations we find ourselves in. We're looking for the permanent, eternal truth, the eternal nature, which is what you're looking for in reality. That state which is not changing according to the world around you or according to the association we have, but it will do unless we find our real self, inevitably, because we're judging things on a physical or mental plane, on a material plane, and that's always changing. So I'm going to hand over to our he's no longer dancing Daniel now, he's Dayo Garanga Prabhu. Dayo Garanga Prabhu's you're now going to, where do you want to go? You need some space for the rap. I'm going to give you the microphone. Is that okay? Do I have the permission to give him the mic? Are you interested? Okay, you're on stage, okay? Unfortunately, Amat, and I didn't get the young lady's name, but have left us. I should have put you on earlier, they may have stayed longer. I drove them away.
Thank you, Maharaj. Okay. The wisdom of the sages. Listen to the scriptures from the Vedas. Material sickness is contagious. We're living so conditioned with the layers.
Speed up. Let's have a bit more action.
Mission is to save us. Every step is riddled with the dangers. 3 modes conceal the description of our natures. I don't wish for fame or its bitter flavor, just to taste the Krishna prema, blissful savor. Gauranga, Nityananda, the feet move to the tune of the mridanga. The myth buster, bodily concept debunker. I had a different form when I was younger, looking for the bliss, wishing for Ananda. The living spirit soul in the skin is sitting under. We're getting higher on the things that bring us blunder, but none of that compares to the mantra.
Oh, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
That's the mantra. The mantra in reference.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, thank you very much. Short and sweet. He does on stage, but then he has some musical backup, and it's more kind of beaty, very beaty. Oh, there's another one. There are some books in the back. This one says, hiding in unnatural happiness. Don't ask me, I've not read it, I just saw it at the back there. The book by Deva and Rita Swami, besides the Bhagavad Gita. I don't know what else you. Science of Self-Realization is there. Don't know what else they've got. This little book on meditation, mantra meditation, maybe a few others. Probably you've got them. But if you want, you can have a look at them afterwards, and if there's anything you can ask the local devotees about them. I don't know what the arrangement is. Hare Krishna. So if there are no more questions, it's now 8:20. We can have a little more chanting. Is that? You're in charge here, aren't you? Bhakti Mala, where are you? Where's Bhakti Mala? She's in the back, is she? There she is. You've emerged from the comfort room. You were having they call it the rest room in some places. Some places they call it the convenience room. They call it the comfort room in other places. They call it the loo in some places. And the loo. The WC, the toilet, the bog. What else they call it? You've been in the bog. The bog. What do you call it over here? What do you Aussies call it? Huh? Huh? What do you call it? Huh? The dungy?
D-U-N-N-Y.
D-E-double?
D-U-N-N-Y.
The dooney?
Dunny.
Dunny. The dunny, that's a new one to put in the vocabulary. The dunny. What other terms do you have? Huh? Throne? My father used to call it the throne. That's interesting you say that, yeah. My father is an interesting one to add to the list here. He was a simple guy in many ways, been kind of pious in many ways. He was very charitable. Didn't know much about anything other than his job, really. And he used to spend ages in the latrine. No, not latrines. That's the urinal. Is it latrines both, or just the urinal? Both. Okay, in the latrine. I'm using a very sophisticated word here. Latrine sounds very, very elevated.
The lavatory.
Lavatory. That's the word I'm looking for. Lavatory. Laboratory. Lavatory. Almost the same. Almost the same. So he would spend hours in there sometimes. And I asked him, what he said, this is the only peace I get. Nobody disturbs me when I'm in the toilet. He would take the newspaper and then read it from beginning to end in the toilet. Some kind of peace. I don't know what type of peace. Hare Krishna. So, what are we going to do now? More chanting, okay. Well, what type of chanting? You want some meditative chanting? Dancing chanting? Meditating chanting? Sleeping chanting? What type? You could do chanting anywhere, anytime, any place. It's amazing, isn't it? You can chant anywhere. Huh? I sometimes sing, huh?
Everywhere.
You can chant in the rain, you can chant in Spain, and even in Ukraine. In the drain, or the plane, or the crane. In pain, in loss or gain, even if you're insane. You can chant Hare Krishna. Anyway, you should do a follow. I've got a few others in the list. I couldn't remember them all. I've got a whole line of them. Yes, it's a fact. You can chant anywhere. We chanted, not exactly in the crane. I was on a building site today in Sydney looking at our new temple project there. The crane was there. I didn't chant in it, but we chanted next to it, next to a crane. Hare Krishna. No matter who we are. Hare Krishna. All right. I don't know if you want me to chant. I'm doing too many things here. Bhakti Mala, are you the boss here?
Yes, she is.
Who's the boss? No one's the boss. Who's from Bangladesh? Anyone from Bangladesh? You're from Bangladesh? Mayapur. From West Bengal, India. In Bangladesh, when I was there, everyone was calling me boss, you know. Boss, boss. They call white people boss, you know. Any white person, they got in their blood. Boss, boss. Doesn't mean much. None of us are boss, are we? We're all servants. We're all dependents and servants. So we're depending on the mercy of Krishna. We're depending on each other. And let's show let's say, our gratitude, our desire to bring auspiciousness to the world benefit to others, and we're chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra together, united, bring us all together. It can be any name, you could say, spiritual name, the absolute. But this is the recommended mantra to chant in this day and age. It's called Kali Yuga, which is the age of materialism, the age of quarrel, the age of hypocrisy, the Iron Age, Manda Samanda Matiyo, Manda Bhagu Padurtaha, where men are short-lived, quarrelsome, lazy, and above all, always disturbed. I say men means mankind, always disturbed. When we think we're long-lived, but we're not. If you take it overall, we're not very long-lived at all. Average lifespan, they say, is 70 to 80, but when you take into account that many living entities don't make it out of the womb, it goes down to 40 years average lifespan. And what is the use? Abraham Lincoln said, what is the use of a long life? It's not the years in your life that count, but the life in your years. What we do with our years, that's what counts. And unfortunately, most of us dwindle away with no substantial benefit therein. Playing bowls at the end of our life, if you're a man, rolling bowls across a green, or playing dominoes, or whatever you call it, some bingo, if you still, these things are still around, watching TV. What is the use of that? Waste of life. Better try to find some deeper meaning. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Okay, let's go. Where are we going? To the gym? Where do you want to go? We can dance our way to the gym. Yeah, we can do a bit of exercise. At least, better easier said than done. The seat is very comfortable, I must say. 1, 2, 3. We've risen. There we go. Oh, we're going to have another earthquake. Jai, Hare Krishna. You're welcome to stand or you can sit. You can do anything you like. You can lie down even if you want. As you wish. This beautiful picture. Who, other than the regulars here, does any of you know what that is? Ah, you're a regular, probably. Who said that? You're a regular. I said other than the regulars. But nobody knows where Radhakund. Radhakund is in India. This is the Sangha. This is where these two famous holy lakes, one on either side of that little temple there. And it's in Vrindavan, the place where Krishna performs his pastimes in this world. Most holy place in India. Are you there?
Yeah.
You're on that picture? You're on the picture?
No.
Not quite on the picture. Right now in India, did you know that in India right now is a festival going on called Kumbh Mela? You've heard of it? You heard it? How many?
Bhakti Mala took that photo.
Huh?
Maharaj, Bhakti Mala took that picture.
Bhakti Mala?
Yep, she took
You
that.
took the picture? Amazing. You took the picture. Isn't that incredible? Oh, wonderful. Thank you. So what's happening in India right now at this festival, Kumbh Mela? How many people are there? All at the same time? Maybe not, over a period of days. They say a total of 400 million people are going to be attending this festival. That's incredible, isn't it? It's almost unbelievable. 400 million people. That's like almost a quarter of the total population of India. More than a quarter, actually, more than a quarter. About 30% of the total population or something. 400 million people. And, I don't know what's going on there, but generally it's in many ways, it's peaceful. Many ways. You don't get riots and, fights and things like that. Because everyone's a little focused. They're focused on why they're there. They're there for spiritual reasons. Of course, they may go back to their lifestyle afterwards, but it's amazing how it can happen like that. Bringing people together in that way. And the same thing, which we try to do, to bring people together with a focus, a spiritual focus. So let's try to hear the sound as well as chant it. Just let that sound vibration enter into our hearts. And let the world around us be what it is. We can't do much about it just by wishing like that. Let's try to do something internally. Charity begins at home in one sense. When we purify our own consciousness, when we're more peaceful ourselves, it's a little easier to help others, bring peace around us, isn't it? If we're not peaceful, how can we help others to be peaceful? How can we be a part of the solution? Let's become a part of the solution instead of the problem. No point getting angry at people. All right, we'll begin. Are we ready? All set to go? Good. Hare Krishna, Krishna. Now we'll sing a different tune. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare on, let's go in a circle. Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Krishna. Time to go to the gym. Are you ready to go to the gym now? You need to go to the gym. What about a nice drink? Yeah, down the bar. Let's go to the bar. You must feel like a drink now.
Would you like a nice lemonade, mate?
Yeah.